Welcome back to the bulletin. The Ghana Revenue Authority has resorted to the use of special breed of dogs to block the flow of illicit cash and smuggled goods. The move by the authority is expected to reduce the flow of undeclared goods at all the entry ports of the country. Here is Ebenezer Sabote's report.
The deployment of the dogs is to check the influx of smuggled goods and illicit financial flows into the country. With the support from the Embassy of Denmark, the specialized dogs are trained to detect currencies and products that are not accepted in the country. Team leader of the Customs Division working on the redesigned tax and development program is optimistic that this will help the country deal with the issue of under-declaring at the ports.
This is mainly done for revenues, okay? So we are looking for increasing revenues. We are looking for money that is not declared to customs, used for money laundering, okay? Used in order to make fake invoices, okay? And regarding narcotics, obviously, because the narcotics are an illicit commodity. For the explosives is the part of the security, but since we are working also at the port, it's important also that a dog is able to detect explosives.
According to the customs unit, travelers with more than $10,000 are being apprehended and reported to the Bank of Ghana. Edward Kumi is the second in command for the K9 unit of the Customs Division.
What we are doing is agency duty. It's NACOP who is in charge of currency and narcotic substance. So if we made the search of any narcotic substance, we hand them over to Narcotics Control Board for them to deal with them. Currency, we give it to our AC, then who then take over, then he report to the Bank of Ghana.
So do you have the Bank of Ghana people here or the NACOS people here collaborating with you, or you may have to go back to the other office?
We have NACOP people here. Some are seated there, and are down to the NACOP people that they are around.
The move will also improve Ghana's security situation at the various ports. Ebenezer Sabote's report for Joy Business.
Now, Chartered Accountant Dr. Daniel Sedo has justified plans to sanction some accounting firms that supervise 7 of the banks that were collapsed by the Bank of Ghana. The Institute of Chartered Accountants is set to sanction 4 auditing firms that worked with these banks. There are fears this action could affect confidence in the accounting profession and the verdict of accounting firms on banks. But Dr. Daniel Sedo disagrees.
The signal is that, look, there's a regulatory body, which is the institute. There's a council, which is supervising the work of auditors. You can trust that if any of the auditors that will be sanctioned are given the opportunity to come back again, believe you me, they will do a better job. We are not saying that it's because of the audit report that's why the banks collapsed. No, that is not it. The council is only sending a certain signal that, yes, we are looking after our members, ensuring that they are doing a good job. If you're being sanctioned for not doing a good job, the next person who is doing his job will also sit up to ensure that, look, he's doing a good job, that he won't go through sanction. That is what it is.
Even the plan to sanction, some would say that, well, DOC as the regulator or DOC as supervisor is getting too hard on me, George Affe.
No, it's within people's right to say whatever they feel. That is okay. And equally, it's within the rights of the institute to ensure that its members are conforming according to standards. As simple as that. The thing is about standards. If the institute has a basis for sanctioning people, so be it. If there's no basis, the people have the right to contest.
These accounting firms, these auditing firms do not operate in vacuum. What about the fact that the role of these regulators in this space also, some will say that maybe they didn't help, and therefore we shouldn't hang George Affe and partners and accounting firm that worked on one of these collapsed banks?
No, we need to explain this whole thing properly. There's a regulator for the financial institutions, or there are regulators for them. We need to understand that these regulators also do not regulate the auditors. The auditors are regulated by the Institute of Chartered Accountants. But we need to avoid a situation where the regulators of the financial institutions try to meddle in the work of the auditors and try to put pressure on them to give clean bill of health when they themselves think otherwise. I think that has played out in this particular instance we are discussing, and we need to look at that critically. I think if there's the need for any discussion, it should be between the regulators on the side of the financial institutions and the Institute of Chartered Accountants. If the financial institution regulators have any concern, they should be discussing it at council level. And so that council can regulate its members. So once the council set the standards, the auditors will follow. But we have a situation where, let's say there's a particular instance where a bank that is supposed to have minimum capital didn't have the minimum capital, but was issued with license. The auditors went in and saw that, look, there's a deficit. What should they do? Now, they've seen the bank's regulator issuing a license when they don't have a minimum capital. Then you have the bank's regulator now trying to engage the auditors. I don't think they are being fair to the auditors. We should allow the auditors to do their work and be held responsible if they should get it wrong.
Dr. Dan Danquah, speaking with George Afefe, he joins me in the studio with more on what he had to say about the sanctioning of these 4 accounting firms. And George, we're hearing that in the background, some of these firms are trying to negotiate. What are you hearing from your sources?
What we understand is that for the council to come out with these sanctions, you have to engage the party in question. So, for instance, I'm sanctioning a bank. Unlike the Bank of Ghana, the accountancy profession, you need to give them some hearing. What do you have to say about these things that have been leveled against you? So that is what we are picking up, that is going on right now. And very, very soon, they'll come up with the names of these 4 accounting firms. But if you've been following the process, we know the accounting firms that worked on maybe UT, we knew the accounting firm that worked on Sovereign Bank, we knew the accounting firm that worked on Unibank. So
and they are big names, no doubt.
They are big. About 2 or 3 of them are big in this industry. Let me say 2 of them. So we're just waiting for the confirmation and the details of that fine. We understand it could be huge, but how much are they going to pay? What we are picking up is that the accountancy provider, the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, they are supposed to be regulating the accountancy industry in Ghana. They want to send signals that we wouldn't encourage this. Whatever things that you did during that period that might have contributed to these banks going. I want to send clear signals out there that we wouldn't encourage this as a body charged with the regulation of the accountancy profession in Ghana.
So these sanctions are coming in terms of fines, we understand.
That is what we are picking up. We don't know whether things will change, but we understand that there could be some huge fines.
Okay, and we also have to talk about what this does to the credibility of these institutions. I hear you talk about that with Dr. Sedo.
And it's true. Then, if you look at what has happened in the industry, some are saying that until we deal with all those other players that contributed, we cannot say that the financial services cleanup has ended. Indeed, they made certain suggestions, so they did certain things that gave us an impression that this bank A was doing so well. So it looks like the signal is that we will deal with everyone that contributed to where we are today and send signals out there that never again are you going to have a situation where a bank could have wrong accounts, falsified accounts, and it's put out there to give an impression that they are doing well. Look at the Enrons and the Edison case in US and all the rest. The signal is that the regulators want to be tough on the market and ensure that we won't get there again. Never again, Darryl.
All right, George, I will keep monitoring that. Thanks for the update. Now, transport consultant Cecil Gabra is pushing for clear-cut formula that would guide increases in transport fares in the country. There are fears of a possible increase in fares following recent petroleum price adjustments. Charles Aite has the rest of the story.
Cecil Gabra believes the proposed formula, which would be publicized and made known to all the players, will prevent the abuse of pushing for increases in fares anytime prices of petroleum products go up. He believes this should bring some clarity to this situation.
What really matters at this point in time is that we need a system, we need a real calculation that at least, we'll say once in a year, right, just as if the budget is read and being reviewed, that look, fuel cost is this, and therefore transport cost must be maybe 15% for the entire year, looking at the variances. But because if you leave it as it is, certain transport owners, including drivers, take that opportunity and increase fares, okay, which I feel
wouldn't be fair to the ordinary Ghanaian.
Meanwhile, Cecil Gabra says the move to increase transport fares is unjustified.
One important thing that you should not do is to start increasing prices to say that, oh, because fuel has been increased, look, I have to also increase prices. In fact, that is what has really disturbed the whole economy of Ghana, right? I feel people are cheats in the sense that because fuel is gone up, they will look at it and say, oh, come on, let me increase my price and so on. That is not really the issue.
Fuel prices in Ghana have shot up from 5 cedis 19 pesos per litre to about 5 cedis 39 pesos per litre, representing a 3.7% jump in prices at the pumps. The Chamber of Petroleum Commerce Ghana has called on government to reverse and withdraw the recent tax increment on petroleum products. The increase comes after the National Petroleum Authority directed all marketing companies to start applying the revised energy sector levies.
In other news tonight, the Kumfi Fruits and Juices factory in the Central Region is set to begin a major test run after a complete installation of field machines have been done. The factory that is under the government's One District, One Factory initiative was started about 2 years ago. Chiefs in the Kumfi traditional area, after a visit to the factory site, vowed to cultivate pineapple to support the factory, and will bring you details subsequently. Now, turning to food matters, prices of various commodities and foodstuff are expected to reduce in the coming weeks. The latest report by commodity trading firm Isoko also showed that prices reduced significantly last month. Francis J. Danso is content manager at Isoko, and he explains why prices are coming down.
Basically, we are in the period where most farmers within the southern sector are harvesting, and so they are able to meet the demand from the market, and so that is driving the prices of the commodities downwards.
Okay, so we are also looking at what this would, what impact this would have on the economy, on inflation as well. How is this benefiting our economy?
And so when you look at the whole impact of the price trends on the other sectors of the economy, you realize that when it comes to the food items within the inflation basket, we are expecting that will drop, which will have an overall impact on the other sectors of the economy and then probably bring inflation down.
For how long is this going to be sustained? I'm wondering, this reduction we are seeing, do you think it's going to be there for quite a while?
So within the next 2 to 3 months, we expect that since the South will be harvesting, prices will continue to be declining. But we also anticipate that after that, then we will also see some movement within the prices moving up.
Yeah, and I guess people are wondering, in terms of reduction, what percentage are we seeing from previous months?
So when you take specific commodities, the prices, the percentages are going to vary. We are looking at between as low as less than a percentage points to as high as sometimes around 20-25 for some specific commodities.
You're watching Business Live. Government, together with 2 other international organizations, has provided over $190 million to support rural enterprises projects in the country. The financial support is part of measures to encourage the youth in agriculture. Joy Business's Fred Duho joined some officials from these organizations to visit some project sites in Ada, here in the Greater Accra region.
The Rural Enterprise Program is aimed at training the youth to become agricultural entrepreneurs by developing and launching their own small and medium-sized farming enterprises. The program is being financed by the Government of Ghana, IFAD and AFDB at a total cost of about $193 million. The program focuses on boosting national job creation and youth employment in remote rural areas through business development services such as training on community-based skills, small business management, literacy and numeracy. The Campaigns and Brands Officer of the International Fund for Agri Development, stated that IFAD has so far invested over $70 million in rural enterprise development for the youth in Ghana.
The REP Rural Enterprises Program, which is supported by IFAD, has been very successful. We're meeting a lot of dynamic young entrepreneurs. They're very hardworking, they're very ambitious, and I think that's the main message we're trying to say is that these are the young people we need to be investing in, but they need support, they need training, they need access, they need services if they're going to be able to take it to the next level. This project, I believe the investment was at $71 million from IFAD in this program, and I believe it's over 50,000 new businesses that have been launched so far over the years of young people. So it's been very successful, and I think we're seeing the impacts of those investments.
The National Director of the Rural Enterprise Program, Kwesi Arthur, stated that the Rural Enterprise Program will be refurbished as a resource center across the country to suit government's industrialization program.
We are changing the face of the Rural Enterprise Program by aligning to the current government industrialization agenda. So for that reason, for instance, business advisory centers are being turned into what is known as business resource centers.
Musician Mr. Easy charged the youth to leave the streets and stop lamenting in search of non-existent white-collar jobs.
Nobody ever told us that the only way to have food security was through agriculture. Nobody ever told us that instead of sitting at home looking for a job, we could just start planting in our backyard. Nobody ever told us that, you know, when our grandma go to the farm to pick up yam and cassava and turn it to gari, nobody ever told us that that business could scale and become something that will not only feed ourselves, our families, our nation, but could also make us rich and ensure that our generation escape poverty swiftly. I should be able to use my voice as an artist to also tell them, you know, of the advantages and the ways to escape poverty and gain financial independence.
Some of the beneficiaries who are into farming and oil making share their experiences with Joy Business.
When I came in an idea stage, but now I've been able to produce this. This is a cold pressed coconut oil for hair and skin, because that's how I branded it. It's lavender and strawberry scented. That can serve both for male and then female. Anyone that needs that nourishing skin, that good-looking hair can use this product to get that effect that they need.
Please, they help me a lot to achieve my aim. What first I haven't known, now I've known that one is to look for market before I even plant my products. I do vegetables and at the same time businessman as well. I can go and sell, or I can be on a farm. The buyers will come to me street and come and buy from the farm.
Fred, the host report for Joy Business.
All right, interesting developments there in South Africa, of course, coming ahead of the Africa edition of the World Economic Forum. And that'll be it for Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. We've got the day's latest there. And you can keep up to date on all our bulletins just in case you missed out on any of them. My name is Dan Danquah. Thanks for watching once again. We'll meet same time tomorrow.